Okay.
Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. BlueDragonFive here to welcome all of you to a star-studded Oscar-themed edition of Disney Debates. Why? Because we still got Oscar fever. Tonight's categories: Best Disney Director of 2017, which Disney film deserved Best Picture, and what Oscar movie do you recast with Muppets? So let's grab our black ties, call Billy Crystal, and board the Oscar Mayer Weenie Mobile, because we're heading to our Oscar-emblazoned arena. Let's announce our nominees. In this fancy corner, a man who appreciates Jim and Andy, like James Franco playing Tommy Wiseau. It's Tiki!
And the Oscar goes to La La Land. Oh, wait, no, crap, never mind.
And in the opposing corner, a man who will only accept his award with 7 small ones behind it. It's Jacob Wile.
I'd like to thank the Academy for the 7 small statues of myself.
All right, boys, how we doing tonight?
I'm doing okay.
Ready to go for the gold.
Oscar. I watched the Academy Awards at in my hotel room at the tail end of my Disney World trip, with 1 day left to go. And so there's a mix of sadness and nostalgia attached to the 2017 Academy Awards already, even though it happened 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Anyways.
It's always a weird discrepancy, just in case this happens. And again, it's kind of unavoidable, but despite it still, I think technically they refer to it as the 2018 Academy Awards, even though, again, it's all the works of 2017. It's always a weird discrepancy.
You know what? I'm going to call it the 2017, God damn it.
I just want to point that out in case anyone...
2017 movies, Dragon.
I know, I'm with you.
I don't think they call it by the year. I think they call it by, the actual ceremony number it is.
Yeah, the 90.
You're right about that, right, Jacob.
Or the 90s scars, as we've kind of known this. The 90s scarred us, but in the best way. Okay, anyway. All right, little refresher for those playing the home game. Okay, we got 3 rounds, which means 3 questions. We're gonna go around. We're gonna reveal our picks. We got an opening statement. You guys are gonna fight it out. And when you hear my little co-host, look at him all cute in his black tie, R2-D2. That's the music that plays you off. So, another little recurring thing we like on our little show here is at the end, it's kind of our jet ski promise, if you will. At the end of round 3, we will implement the coin, which is the optional stage of our little contest. Yes, the Oscar coin. Yes. The Oscar coin, which basically means heads, you get a point. You get a bonus Oscar. Tails, you lose a point.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if they actually determined Best Picture with a coin toss?
That would be hysterical.
Maybe that's how they determined Moonlight and La La Land.
You know what? Let's just blame it on the envelope.
Crap, guys! It was Tails. It was Tails.
Someone stop! Someone stop Dick Tracy. Okay.
Damn it, Two-Face was in charge. Two-Face was in charge of the Oscars.
What? I like that movie. Anyway. So, okay, and of course, let me give verbal confirmation from our two nominees this evening, our 2 champions. Gentlemen, do you understand these rules as I have explained them to you here this fine evening?
Yes, but do you want to go over the speed round for first-time watchers, though?
Well, sure, I thought I was going to do it a little later, but okay, by all means. So, folks, later on, after these 3 rounds and after the big coin option, again, they don't have to take one, but they can choose to. They can opt to. We will enter the speed round after our main round, which will be kind of sandwiched. Well, not sandwiched. There will be 30 seconds followed by a 15-second rebuttal. It's kind of a half. It's like an hors d'oeuvre. You have the meaty part at the bottom, and you have kind of a little sasumpa. We turn it upside down because it hates the Oscars. Why not?
All right. And we're going to have 4 speed round questions in total, meaning 7 points possible. So first person to 4 points altogether is essentially the winner.
Yes.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, so let's get to deciding the order.
Yes, we're going to the randomizer, folks. The randomizer will ensure, because it's
If
now
Jacob is second, then it'll be like a monumental occasion.
That's true, because Jacob has the worst luck with the randomizer. So we're going to see how that treats him this evening.
All right.
Let's cue it up. It's like Vegas, folks. Complete random.
Oh, let's decide. Oh my god!
It's an Oscar miracle.
Hashtag reverse the curse.
Oh my god! Yes. No, Tiki, that's brilliant. I love that.
That's from Survivor Dragon.
Well, I'm a little less impressed with you, but it's a good reverse the curse. I like that. That's a hashtag reverse the curse. It's awesome.
You should have just kept the praise while you had it, Tiki.
Okay.
I didn't want Jeff Probst coming after me like, hey, Tiki, that's my thing.
Okay.
Like trying to snuff out the torch of my life.
The Tiki torch?
Yes, exactly. Like I have a torch on my head. I'm like a Pokemon, Jacob. I bet you didn't know that about me. You see, Sandy knows this about me because he's met me in person.
I've seen the pictures.
Anyways.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Ready?
Okay. Round 1. Who was the best Disney director of 2017? All right, now just to explain this a little bit, just to kind of make sure we cover all our bases here. So, folks, just so you at home know this as well, everything's on the table. Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, anything that kind of emblazons the Disney name on it in some capacity, it's on the table from the year 2017. That's what our guys had to pick from, picking the director. And when guys want to hear is the director, but also what they're really connected to is the film they did in 2017. You can cite the other stuff they've done, but again, your real meat and potatoes is the director and the film they directed in 2017 to reflect their direction, etc., etc. So, I want to hear the opening statement, and that opening statement after, of course, we establish who guys what. I want to hear why you picked him. I really want you guys to hit that in the opening statement. Why you picked this person.
Okay.
All right, Tiki, who do you have?
So I have Taika Waititi, who directed Thor Ragnarok.
And I have Lee Unkrich, who directed Coco.
All right, so Thor Ragnarok, as we like to call it, 80s heavy metal album cover, the movie. The brilliant thing about this movie is that it is both the most fun and one of the most commercialized movies of the MCU, but at the same time, it's also the most auteur movie of the MCU. Like this, even outside of stuff like James Gunn's Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy movies, this has the director's flavor written all over it. And I feel like this is a turning point to let people like Ryan Coogler do their thing on Black Panther and so on and so forth. I feel like this work that Taika Waititi has done with Thor Ragnarok, it's his seal, it's his flavor all over the damn thing. You can tell it's him, you can tell it's his sensibilities and it's his trademark sense of humor. You get that same sort of feel that you get from his earlier works like Hunt for the Wilder People and What We Do in the Shadows. You get that same sense of like nuanced kind of like weird, New Zealand sensibility. And he brings that to the MCU, and he somehow finds a way to elevate the MCU with that style of humor. Not only that, but the visual look is very much inspired by his same sort of visual sensibilities. It's kind of weird out there, like quirky indie sensibilities that definitely colors the look and the color palette of the film, along with the 80s heavy metal album cover look that I already described. And also, just to kind of give my thesis statement on my defense against Lee Unkrich, while I feel like Coco is a brilliant movie, I feel like Coco is more of a group effort than Taika Waititi's work on Thor Ragnarok. I feel like Taika Waititi has his own personal fingerprints all over Thor Ragnarok, whereas Coco is more just the whole team is responsible for that work. So that's kind of where my argument's going to be kind of centered around. And that's it.
Okie dokie. Jacob?
All right. As I mentioned earlier, my pick is Lee Unkrich, who member of Pixar, who directed Coco for the year 2017. You could definitely tell, like Coco, for example, was a major work of love. Because like, I mean, Lee Unkrich has always has always had an appreciation for the Mexican culture, and was especially like things like for Day of the Dead and honoring the dead and familial cultures in Mexico, and he wanted to capture that in a movie in a movie for Pixar. And though it was tumultuous at first, and again, and had some controversies, it all worked itself out, which really doesn't affect my argument anyway. Anything. Yeah, and I had to disagree with the whole cultural, with the no, not the culture, the whole personal stamp on there, because like you can definitely tell like this is his, like he's definitely coming into his own as it works. As the only other movie he solely directed was Toy Story 3. He did co-direct Toy Story 2, but this is really the only one this is the only first one he directed on his own. But I guess he did technically have a co-director with Adrian Molina there.
Yeah, you're kind of burying your own point there, Jacob.
Not really, but
anyways.
I was just citing a fact on that one. So,
all right, go ahead.
Okay. When Coco, you could tell was a major inspiration, and how we. I'm never good. I'm sorry. Sorry. You could tell that a lot of effort went into this, and like making an animated movie like this, especially one that is so that can both tell a story rooted in a culture and respect that culture at the same time, isn't exactly the easiest of tasks. And him and his team at Pixar completely won over on both accounts, being able to successfully create a truly moving picture, but that is captured that has both heart and humor and even a bit of, and it's taught people basically the entire movie in many ways is brilliant. Like with its animation, which pushes the boundaries, created like the world of the dead that they created was top notch. The imagination, the music, everything is completely spot on with everything. Okay, I think I'm done for right now.
okay, boys, let's grab rosters and let's dent some heads. Let's verbally, of course. Let's fight it out.
All right, no, I'm sorry, Jacob, but you did step over your own point there, because you were simply like, hey, this is the first movie that Lee Unkrich directed on his own. Oh, wait, never mind. He had a co-director.
No, I didn't say that.
I'm sorry, that kind of just proves my point that this is not.
And technically, Taika Waititi didn't even write Thor Ragnarok.
A lot of Thor Ragnarok was improvised, which is a lot of the way that Taika Waititi directs his other movies. That's his directing style. That's almost his trademark, to tell you the truth. That's a big point of why Thor Ragnarok feels so much like a Taika Waititi movie.
Doesn't that also kind of make it a group effort, though?
Like I said, it's his own trademark style, and yes, I mean, let's face it, like both these movies, I'm not going to discredit all the visual effects artists that worked on Thor Ragnarok. That'd be, of course, being hypocritical, because I'm saying, obviously with your movie, you have a whole team of animators, and I have like these big divisions of visual effects people. But having said that, I think when it comes down to the actual director and his style, like I said, there's just such an auteur quality to Thor Ragnarok. And I think more importantly, the quality of Thor Ragnarok is Coco is another like freaking gem of a Pixar movie in a long line of gems of Pixar movies. And I feel like Thor Ragnarok is, yes, it's a great movie in a long line of great Marvel movies, but it elevates that. It does something better than that, where it kind of redeems the whole Edgar Wright situation. And that's why I think Taika Waititi is such an important and pivotal piece of this Marvel puzzle, is that it truly, for the first time, it proves that Marvel has faith in their directors and that we can do something that really, really cements their style, and it's all over that movie. And I don't think the same can be said with Coco. Coco is a loving effort for sure, and I don't want to bag on Coco itself. I'll be honest here, even if this degrades my point a little, I don't care. I will say that Coco is probably the better movie overall, but I think that Taika Waititi's flavor is all over Thor Ragnarok, and that's what we're arguing here. We're arguing who's the better director, and you know, I don't know. I definitely think that Taika Waititi stands out more with his style.
Admittedly, it is kind of, like I said, it is kind of hard to see a style with that. But is it just for? Okay, I'm trying to.
I just gave you an in here, Jacob. I told you that I literally think your movie's better.
I know. I mean, you just like I said. You just said. Well, you just said that. There's no need for me to read it. I mean, you yourself listed it as the best movie of 2017 on your Facebook page.
Exactly, and on the channel. So it's, you know, look, Coco's an artistic masterpiece. I just think that Thor Ragnarok is a stylistic masterwork. And I think that it's almost like Coco is Starry Night and Thor Ragnarok is a freaking Andy Warhol Campbell soup can painting. You know what I mean? It's like, it's two totally different things, but Thor Ragnarok is like, hey, let's bring pop culture into the auteur directing world, into the weird, like, artistic scene.
Yep. With I'm sorry, but okay, just I can't think of anything else I can see for this round.
You concede. Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
You're throwing in the towel for this round.
Yes. Nothing else I can say would work here.
Okay.
Man, I really argued that. Wow, that's a KO there. Wow, verbal KO.
All right. The first point goes to Tiki. And before we move on, I just want to say I do think Jacob started strong. I do think in the cultural responsibility area, I think if you grapple with that, he could have really turned into something. He just seemed a little, I think Tiki threw him a sidewinder with the when he just kind of complimented the movie very very emphatically. And Tiki was really just maintaining strong with the whole basically how it kind of redeeming the Edgar Wright of it all, and basically kind of facilitating kind of the transition to kind of directors that gives the Black Panther, you know, like Ryan Coogler, and basically kind of like, you know, kind of redeeming like every director having a style. Again, I don't think Jacob was out of the game, but I think he just kind of was thrown for a loop in the fight. So
I don't think he was out of the game at all. As a matter of fact, when I openly admitted that I thought that Coco was the better movie, I was like, oh crap, Jacob's going to come back and really kick my ass on that point, isn't he?
I mean, if anything, I mean, the co-director thing, I think Jacob really could have used some momentum to really kind of crash it down upon Tiki's head. But
I was being a little petty about that. I'll admit it.
You could have said all the other
below the belt tricks I kind of had in the bag against Coco.
Well, there's nothing I could really yell. I mean, I probably would have lost the argument eventually anyway. So I thought.
Oh, come on, man! You need some confidence for this.
All right.
I mean, it was just like I know I'm not. I mean, I couldn't come up with any more arguments on that point. So
okay.
Just because I didn't get to push the button, I just want to kind of end the fight with kind of some style. All right.
Okay.
Should be fine for the next ones, though.
All right. Okay. Round 1 over. Round 2 just beginning. Which nominated Disney is the full question. Which nominated Disney film deserved Best Picture? Now, just to be specific, in case anyone's a little lost on this, I want to be very clear and a little reminder for our guys here. So which of the three, the question was posing, which of the three animated films that were nominated for Best Picture should have won? The ones that were up for Best Picture yet were just passed over by a very petty Academy of Filmmaking. Those three films, of course, were, I won't say who has what, but let's just say, we had Toy Story 3, we had Up, and we had Beauty and the Beast. Those are the three films historically and amazingly, just to give them congratulations to not a loser among the films that are nominated. That were indeed nominated for Best Picture. Not just Best Animated Feature, but Best Picture. All right, so who has what?
I've got Beauty and the Beast.
I have Toy Story 3.
Tiki's got a beauty, and Jacob's got a 3. Okay.
Take that, Val.
All right. Okay, so Beauty and the Beast, I'm not going to bore you guys with the details about why this movie's a masterpiece. It's like literally there's been so many theses written about it. Everyone knows it. But that's my point. Beauty and the Beast is such a classic that it speaks for itself. It is like, it's so consistently highly ranked. Like Belle is ranked as the best Disney princess of all time. Gaston is considered a favorite Disney villain. Like everyone clamors to get pictures with Gaston in the parks. I mean, Be Our Guest, reservations for Be Our Guest at Disney World sell out months and months in advance. I mean, Beauty and the Beast still has a permanent cultural impact on people. And it's the height of the Disney Renaissance. To quote Hal Rudnick, it's freaking Disney at the height of their powers. Toy Story 3 is a great movie, but I don't even think it's the best Toy Story movie. I still think Toy Story 1 is the best Toy Story movie. I think Beauty and the Beast completely stands on its own. It's a 2D animated work. It's a classic of the genre. It's had a lot more time to breathe and become a classic than Toy Story 3 has. I'm not saying Toy Story 3 is not a modern classic. I'm just saying Beauty and the Beast is more cemented in pop culture. And more importantly, I think Toy Story 3 had a lot more competition the year it was nominated. And frankly, there's some movies like The Social Network, Inception, that I actually would probably rank above Toy Story 3 in the year it came out. And you can't really say the same thing about Beauty and the Beast, because even though The Silence of the Lambs won against Beauty and the Beast, I think in general, Silence of the Lambs being a really well-liked movie, Beauty and the Beast is a freaking loved movie. So not dissing on Toy Story 3, just saying I think the overall cultural impact of Beauty and the Beast as a whole cannot be denied.
Well, I can't really say Beauty. Well, I can't really deny anything about Beauty and the Beast either. Even though I wouldn't call them my favorite of the Renaissance, though. Toy Story 3, though, is like this. This was also, I mean, to say this wasn't a pop culture phenomenon would be very, very laughable. This is the culmination of many people's childhoods, into their adulthoods. Like this movie it had everything. It had everything: humor, heart, adventure, action, and even basically a culmination of everything that this trilogy had and more.
All right, boys, fight it out.
It wasn't.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're not done?
No, not yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like, but no, cancel that order, guys. Just Jacob, keep going with your thought.
I'm sorry. I mean, Toy Story itself, ever since its inception in 1995, has cemented itself in pop culture, just as much as probably say Beauty and the Beast had. And I think this carries over. It carries over into its sequels 2 and 3, and possibly the upcoming 4. This definitely still resonated with that and instantly cemented itself in the pop culture osmosis. And even had arguably some of the most heart-wrenching scenes ever put into the Pixar universe, like and basically is one of the most well-written and most acclaimed and overall one of the best films Pixar has ever made, and definitely deserved to be up there in the nominees and possibly win for the year it came out. Okay, now I'm done.
Okay, boys, fight it out.
I mean, Jacob, like you say that it's connected to the trilogy, and that's true, but I feel like that's what makes Beauty and the Beast stand on its own more, is that it's not to say that Toy Story 3 isn't a masterpiece in its own right. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you're absolutely right that Toy Story 3 has had those 10 years. And Toy Story 3, it's almost like the outside circumstantial stuff surrounding Toy Story 3. The fact that we grew up, the fact that most people who watched Toy Story as a kid were now Andy's age, probably either going off to college, moving out of the house, becoming an adult as Toy Story 3's hitting. That's all circumstantial outside stuff that the movie hits on, yes, but that kind of makes it more powerful. Beauty and the Beast, you don't need any of that outside stuff to appreciate that movie. That movie, it's like literally every single frame of that movie is iconic. Every single moment of that movie is just cemented in pop culture. Like people's minds are just like that movie is just grilled into people's minds. So many people like played that movie over and over and over and over again on VHS. We didn't even have VHS when Toy Story 3 came out. I'm just kidding. That's not, don't count that as a point against Toy Story 3. I'm just being melodramatic. But you get my point though. It's like I feel like by the time Toy Story 3 came out, like people don't consume media in the same way anymore. And so it's like people don't rewatch Toy Story 3 infinitely the same way that people rewatch Beauty and the Beast infinitely. You know, like Toy Story 3, it's got baggage because it's connected to those other two movies. Whereas Beauty and the Beast, every time you turn that thing on, it's a freaking masterwork in its own right.
Sure, Toy Story 3 does have the baggage of the trilogy, but it still works as a standalone feature. I mean, you don't really need to, and you don't really need to need to have seen the previous two movies. But if you know,
if you don't see the previous two movies, then it's not going to punch. It's not going to have nearly as much of an emotional punch. I mean, those highlight emotional moments are they're gonna still be there, but they're not going to be tear jerkers the same way that they would be if you are familiar with these characters.
It still doesn't. It seriously doesn't still derive any impact from the power of these emotions, the power of the story, though. I mean, the movie's still good regardless. I mean, the movie's still great regardless.
As much as it pains me to hit on Toy Story 3, unlike Beauty and the Beast, which I think frame by frame is absolutely perfect, like, I dare you to come up with a bad moment from Beauty and the Beast. I think there's a couple things that Toy Story 3 could have done better. I think that there's some elements of Toy Story 3 that are a bit recycled from Toy Story 2, specifically, like, we're re-exploring the abandoned toy storyline. We're kind of re-exploring the whole, like, oh no, you know, like, we're stuck in a location and we got to get back to Andy. And I understand it's all part of the trilogy. It's all part of the structure of those movies. And also the fact that Toy Story 3, like a lot of other Pixar movies, just kind of recycles the plot of a well-known movie, this one being The Great Escape. I feel like Toy Story 3, it's a little bit derivative of other works, whereas Beauty and the Beast, like I said, I challenge you to come up with a negative thing to say about that movie at all, because you can't, because it's perfect.
Well, Beauty and the Beast has a lot of derivative stuff from other incarnations of that exact work. I mean, this story itself isn't exactly, but Beauty and the Beast itself isn't exactly an original story. It's a story that's been told countless times throughout the years.
Would you say it's a tale as old as time?
Yes. Actually, I would.
And I guess The Great Escape isn't a tale as old as time, Jacob. So that's why The Great Escape doesn't resonate as much as a storytelling device than Beauty and the Beast, which has literally rested its laurels in Hollywood history as far back as something like King Kong and Creature from the Black Lagoon, which we're going to talk about soon. And you know what I mean? The Beauty and the Beast is it's so intertwined in Hollywood history that, yeah, every movie, you know, can kind of like date back to Beauty and the Beast. It's just a framework.
How does the movie left just Silence of the Lambs, though? I mean, I don't know why I'm saying that at all, but that's not an argument per se. How did any of these movies lose anyway?
That's an excellent question, my friend. That is a beautifully excellent question that cannot be answered.
Oh, with 2010, my question is how the hell did either Inception or The Social Network lose? My question is not how did Toy Story 3 lose, because as much as I love Toy Story 3, it's probably my third favorite movie of that year after Inception and The Social Network. The King's Speech is ridiculous, though. I mean, like, outside of the debate, can we all agree that The King's Speech is just like, that should not have won Best Picture that year? That wasn't even close to being the Best Picture that year.
It wouldn't have been my pick, but I hear good things.
I've only seen bits and pieces of it.
I've only seen bits and pieces of it, too, because I'm bitter about it.
And I like Colin Firth.
Yeah, and I like Jeffrey Rush, but whatever.
Exactly. So it's kind of anyway. Back.
Sorry for the
Jeffrey Rush.
Sorry for the derailment.
No, it's fine. I'm the one derailing things. Having said that, like I said, it's also importantly to note, Toy Story 3, that came out in a year where the Academy was like was nominating more and more things, right? So the nomination wasn't as hard to get as something like Beauty and the Beast, because Beauty and the Beast came out in a year where you can only nominate 5 things. So the fact that Beauty and the Beast was even nominated to begin with is more of an achievement. And of course, it's the first animated movie to be ever nominated for Best Picture. It was the only nominated Best Picture contender for a long time, up until Up. I mean, I think there's something that really needs to be said there. I think the exclusivity of Beauty and the Beast, like, you're never going to see another animated picture nominated in a 5-movie race again, I don't think.
Well, I don't necessarily think that makes it. I mean, sure, that probably does make it a bit harder, but that doesn't mean necessarily exclude the achievement, because as we stated, only 3 animated films have been nominated for Best Picture in total, and that itself is an achievement in of itself.
But Up came during a weak year, and Toy Story 3 came during a really strong year. So I feel like
and also the fact that Toy Story 3 was able to stand among those strong ones, as you point out, also points to its achievement.
No, you're right, Jacob. That's what I was about to say. I think out of the 3 of them, I honestly think Up is probably... I think Up is the easiest to take down, because I think even the people who love Up kind of agree that after the first 10 minutes, Up kind of like... It has various levels of good to great in the movie after that. But Toy Story 3 and Beauty and the Beast, they are more equal to each other. And you're right, Jacob. You're absolutely right. The fact that Toy Story 3 did come out in 2010, which in 2010 is a freaking fantastic year in cinema. Like, I could write a thesis about that. It does definitely give validation to Toy Story 3 being up there. I just think the fact that Beauty and the Beast was a historic first, and it was nominated up against only 4 other movies, I just think that's just that's bragging rights right there.
And the only other strong movie that was nominated that year was, as we pointed out, Silence of the Lambs. So basically, it was a weak year for that too.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, like I said, don't get me wrong. It's still good. Don't get me wrong. Both of these are still great achievements in getting nominated. Don't get me wrong.
However, I feel like, having said that, I feel like Beauty and the Beast probably deserves it more, because Silence of the Lambs is a really good movie, but I think we all agree Beauty and the Beast is just a masterwork of a movie. And as I said, Toy Story 3, like, Toy Story 3, like, the movie that actually won Best Picture isn't as good as Toy Story 3. But there are other movies in that year. I mean, specifically Inception. Like, I know I have a soft spot for The Social Network, but Inception is a movie that has just come out to redefine how modern action blockbusters are made. And the fact that Inception even got nominated in its own right is an achievement. So I feel like Inception is really the movie that should have won that year, whereas Beauty and the Beast, like, definitely should have won in the year it was nominated, because, as you pointed out, Jacob, it was up against squat, whereas Toy Story 3 came up against a really crowded field.
I guess I can't argue that one.
Right. I feel like I'm kind of running out of points too. Okay.
All right. Well, I think we had some good points made in this.
I think that was a really well. I think that went back and forth. That was really well fought.
It was well fought. Looking at it here, I'll just keep kind of the thoughts brief here. I think you both came out. I think you both came out of the gate really strong on this. Really do. And as Tiki said, they go back and forth quite a great deal. I think the thing I noticed, though, I think Tiki made more points. And the main thing I was really waiting to hear, that I really needed to hear from Jacob is, I mean, Tiki opened himself up to take hits for Beauty and the Beast, and I think Jacob just needed to ask the simple question of why. You know, why is it a perfect film? Get into the kind of the why and maybe tear it down from there.
Oh, I could have told you.
Well, I'm just saying that's where, that's where another fight entirely could have been had. And basically, Tiki made his points against it. I didn't really hear those points really kind of defended either. So that's really where I'm coming at. I needed the points that Tiki made against Toy Story 3 defended. I really needed more points against Beauty and the Beast made, if not. I mean, Jacob was really winning it back for a moment. He was with the, he had a moment that almost won it for him entirely, if I'm being frank. Pointed out that he basically was rebuffing the achievement thing that Tiki was making. Tiki made made a move where he said, Beauty and the Beast is more of an achievement, and Jacob is really kind of taking that away from him. That the original, they're all kind of an achievement. Again, from that point forward, he was starting to kind of win some points back, but at the end, I'm just letting it's kind of like the Rocky thing. I'm counting the point. I'm counting the hits and like the number of hits here. And it's going to Tiki, so it's 2 points Tiki. But again, the fight did get a little more interesting there, so that's good.
Yeah, props, Jacob. That was that had me on my toes quite a bit.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about this next one.
This next one's a fun one, folks. What Oscar movie do you recast with Muppets?
Now, to be fair, just to clarify, this is 2017 movies nominated for Best Picture.
I know, I was about to clarify.
Okay,
yes. You did my job for me, but okay. So basically, from, as Dee said, from 2017, the Best Picture featured on the 2018 Oscars, again, semantics. The more descriptive you can be, the more details or descriptions you can have for this, it helps. Again, if you can still argue even without all the things figured out. I'm just saying, it would definitely be a help to you. It's a word of advice. And what I really want you to be thinking of here, the main thing I really want you to think of and really argue is particularly in the fight section, but also in the opening stages, all throughout this thing. How does the film benefit from the change? How does the film, why do you recast it? Not necessarily why it needs to be recast, but if you were to recast, how would it? Think of the positive. How would it benefit the film? How does this change of casting and starring Muppets help the film? And also, just so everyone knows that a handicap is, I don't know if handicap's not the right word, but if basically we have had an allowance made that everyone's been offered the same thing, that you can have one human actor who starred in the movie. You can have one human actor who starred in the movie. That is allowed, but primarily it's all Muppets. The exception of one human actor is not necessary. You do not have to have a human actor, but both guys have the option of a human actor if they so chose.
Okay.
Okay, so Tiki, what do you got?
My choice is Get Out.
Okay.
And I went with Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. Okay. Tiki,
Dunkirk.
When you're ready, Tiki.
Okay, so Get Out. My version of Get Out is going to recast everyone except for main star Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya is going to be he's going to resume his performance, his previous role in the first movie. But everything else is going to be recast as Muppets for a very specific reason. Now, his fiance in the movie is going to be played by Janice. Yeah, we're like totally in love. And the parents, of course, naturally are going to be played by Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. Now with that, you have Kermit the Frog basically being like, I voted for Obama.
Bradley Whitford is Kermit the Frog.
Yes. And then with Miss Piggy, you have all the creepy, like, hypnotizing things, like, let me take you down into the hidden place. I'm sorry, I need to rewatch Get Out. I don't know all the details of Get Out. I don't know what
basically the trippy chair image from the movie.
The sunken place, I think it's called. Let me take you down into the sunken place, Daniel. All right. Beyond that, you have Dr. Teeth. You have Animal in there as Janice's siblings. Let's see. You've got other people like Sam. Sam the Eagle is going to be playing a Muppet who's kind of self-aware about the whole thing, and Sam the Eagle is basically the person who has the title, the title reveal. He's a person who's kind of like warning Daniel Kaluuya, like, get out! You need to get out! All these people are weirdos!
And look, I just want to clarify again for everything. By the way, we have to. Tiki knows this. I'm saying so everyone knows as well. You have to stick exactly with how the movie operates. Just you've recast the actors, the same lines, same everything. Okay, keep going.
Yes. So Daniel Kaluuya's best friend, who saves the day in the end, the mall cop security guard, is going to be recast as Bobo the Bear, because everyone loves Bobo the Bear, and he's just a nice, helpful guy. And that's it in terms of the pitch. But let me explain to you why this is going to be such a good idea. I think that this has legit educational value because this is bringing an important racially charged film to children. What this is doing is it's essentially contextualizing the racial message of Get Out in the form of Muppets. So it's basically kind of like what Dr. Seuss did with the Sneetches. So basically, instead of white people are going to be stand-ins for Muppets. And, Daniel Kaluuya is going to be the one human person in the movie. So basically, instead of like the one black person in the movie against a sea of white people, it's going to be the one human person in the movie against a sea of Muppets. So that way kids can kind of like learn the message of racism, but not have it be so in your face. And also we can tone it down a little bit for the kids. Like everything that happens in the movie still happens, but it's just a little bit more palatable because it's Muppets. It's a little bit like it could be a PG-13 because Muppets are being killed and not humans. So it's a good gateway educational film in that regard.
I had an unrelated question.
Yes.
Have we ever seen Muppet Death?
Oh God, we've had to.
I know, right? But I mean, can you?
I think there's probably been. Maybe there's a bit in a. Was there any in Treasure Island?
I want to say there was some.
Oh well, I mean, there's Old Dead Tom, but he's kind of a sentient skeleton, though. That's kind of a.
Oh yeah, we could. No, there's no Muppet Death. There's a human death, and there's like people died. I thought this was supposed to be a kids movie.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. That's what I'm saying. Can you think of like? I mean, you assume it's had to have happened, but I mean, Muppet Death. Have we ever like a dramatic Muppet Death?
If anything, it was probably a comedic Muppet
Death. No.
Even if it's I mean, that's untapped Muppet. Oh, no, I'm not trying to fight your thing for it. I'm just saying, like, I don't think of even a comedic death. I don't think we've had like. Even anyone who's been eating this come out like Pepe was eaten and he was brought out alive. I don't think we've ever had Muppet. Oh, yeah. Okay, a little side thought. Jacob, what do you got?
I have the war movie Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. Sorry.
Dunkirk.
Please continue.
All right. Now, the one reason I win with this, other than the fact that it was the only Best Picture nominee I saw this year, last year. Other than that, I was like, I thought it'd be very interesting to see the Muppets in this kind of like wartime setting, almost like bringing it, like still bring the educational layer that Get Out had, but also put them in a setting that none of them are prepared for. Basically, are prepared for like. If I was to keep one human actor, it'd probably be Tom Hardy and his plan. And actually, Tom Hardy's character would probably be replaced by Sam Eagle.
God.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I wish I was fighting for the Americans, but screw it, it's British time.
Like, remember, it's the American way. I mean, it's the British way.
British way.
Okay, so I want to clarify. So is Tom Hardy the pilot, or is Sam Eagle the pilot in your version?
And it's Sam Eagle. He's fine. Are there any Americans in the movie? I forget.
No.
Okay, he'd definitely be the pilot then. He definitely like would fit into that mold.
Okay, and he can fly.
Yep. It's like, why do I have a parachute? I can fly. The heck was that?
Sorry. No, it's anyway. So Sam Eagle.
Oh, okay. All right. Now,
sorry, that was my little brother. I apologize.
Threw me off my track there.
Anyway.
All right, it'd be an interesting way to show the Muppets in a setting they've never seen before, like, and like there'd still be like the way of like telling the story without focus on the character. They had a really more major focus on the characters, but also like have a way to like both lampshade that as well. It's like Muppet humor in the ways of like lampshade, like I can't tell. Hey, wait, weren't you just over there? And like, wasn't that just yesterday? It's like I can't follow anything in this picture. Like, basically following some people's general confusion about this movie. Like, but still being a very faithful recreation of said picture. And though admittedly, though showing the actual incident, the instances of war and D-Day might not actually be the best subject. Muppets and Sesame Street have touched upon sensitive subjects before. I think that it could still work.
Jacob, do you have a human actor holdover in your movie?
No. I mean,
Okay, that's
I
fine.
mean, I mean, none of them I can really think of. None
Yeah,
of them I can.
that's totally fine. I just wanted to make sure for
I
the
mean, I
audience.
guess I could use Harry Styles as like a backup singer or something.
God. Yes, I would go with Harry Styles as like the one person.
Yes, and he's like, hey, weren't you that kid from One Direction?
God.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll use him. I'll use him.
All right.
I was actually considering that earlier anyway.
All right, boys, let's fight it out because it's war and also educational.
And also, get out! Get out!
These people are weirdos.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun one. Okay, guys, fight it out.
Well, Jacob, I mean, you kind of brought up your own flaw. The Muppets are based in character humor. Dunkirk has no characters. Like, what are you going to do? Dunkirk literally has a sea of soldiers who all look exactly the same.
I mean, that would also bring part of the humor about it too. And like, there's plenty of background Muppets that could be used for those extra soldiers.
But I'm just saying, Dunkirk is a movie where it relies on the experience. It relies on. Here's the thing. I feel like Get Out, yes, Get Out is a horror movie, but I feel like Get Out is more a social commentary and a social satire, and that's why Muppets would work so well into that mold. Like Key and Peele are already comedians, so Jordan Peele, I feel like Jordan Peele, they've already worked with the Muppets on their TV show. He would fit right. He'd be like, "Oh, Muppets, we're using Muppets. All right, well, that's a twist, but hey, I can make this work." Christopher, can you imagine Christopher Nolan actually legitimately making a Muppet movie?
Tiki, I love that fantasy. Don't take that away from me.
Christopher Nolan would never make a Muppet movie. I'm sorry, Dragon. I'm sorry to take the
Peter Jackson made a reject Muppet movie, before he did Lord of the
Peter
Rings.
Jackson is not Dunkirk. Not Dunkirk. Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson is not Christopher Nolan. Peter Jackson is fine. I just say that because I love Dunkirk.
I'm sorry, Peter Jackson's not Dunkirk.
But before Peter Jackson did Lord of the Rings, he did something kind of like, it was basically called Building the Muppets. Didn't see any of this.
Yeah, but like I said, Peter Jackson isn't even in the same league as Christopher Nolan, so you can't even begin to compare the two. Christopher Nolan is infinitely. I mean, look, I love Lord of the Rings. Don't get me wrong, I fucking love Lord of the Rings, but Lord of the Rings is about the only legitimate thing that Peter Jackson's ever done.
King Kong.
Yeah, King Kong. King Kong hasn't aged well. I love King Kong when it came out. It's showing its age. Anyways, point being, I really feel like Dunkirk benefits from being visceral and realistic and really putting you on the moment, having you be kind of like a fly on the wall of this experience. It benefits on the fact that you don't know who any of these people are, and there aren't any, like Dunkirk has very little dialogue and Muppets is dialogue-based humor. I still don't get how you can do that. Like, Get Out just lends itself so much better to having the Muppets in it than Dunkirk does.
I honestly think that, I don't know. I mean, this is just my personal opinion, and I could be very wrong in that. I honestly think Dunkirk would be better focused with more recognizable characters. I mean, I know that's not the point of the movie. I know
that's absolutely not the point of the movie, and the movie's a freaking masterpiece, and you don't need to change anything about it.
What do you need to change about Get Out?
What you need to change about Get Out is you need to make Get Out a little bit more accessible, because it's a movie that I feel like more young people could benefit from seeing. So like I said, that change in rating from an R to a PG-13 because it's Muppets being killed off instead of humans being killed off, I think that would really benefit things. I think if a kid saw a version of Get Out that was aimed at Muppets, they would still get that same sort of cultural message. And I feel like that's very appropriate.
What's kind of funny about both of our movies would be about Muppets being killed off.
Yeah, but Dunkirk is all about the visceral experience of it, though. Like I said, I feel like Get Out is a goofy movie in a lot of ways. Anyways, it's a very cartoonish movie in the way it presents itself. It's very much a tongue-in-cheek kind of social satire. Whereas Dunkirk, I can't imagine Muppets in Dunkirk at all. It doesn't work. Like, you haven't even like listed anyone that you would cast in your movie because you don't really have any solid ideas for it.
Alrighty.
I mean, Kermit the Frog is an Obama-loving liberal dad. I mean, come on, that just writes itself.
I guess you're right.
He's like a creepy, hypnotizing mom. Like, ooh, you're getting very sleepy, Daniel.
Alrighty.
Get out! These people are weirdos. These people are weirdos. See, I'm just quoting stuff from my movie, and you can't do anything, Jacob, because you just made the wrong choice.
I still honestly wouldn't call Dunkirk a masterpiece, though. I mean, I'll just say that out right now.
I would call Dunkirk the best Christopher Nolan movie, but that's just my personal opinion. I know that's not everyone's opinion. I love the hell out of Dunkirk. Dunkirk just hit me in the sweet spot.
All right.
And Dunkirk, I would rank as a better movie than Get Out. Like I said, I feel like Get Out, you can do a lot of things with it. You can do parodies of Get Out. You can do fan films of Get Out. Like, Get Out is almost kind of like a playground of a movie, whereas Dunkirk, I don't really think lends itself to parody. Dunkirk is a very self-serious movie, and it's very much a movie that, kind of relies on its own gimmicks. And if you take that, if you take those gimmicks away, it all just kind of becomes a mess.
I suppose it does.
All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to cut through it. I'm just going to say Tiki was on fire this round. So, honestly, that's the thing. I'm sorry. Jacob, you put up a fair fight. I'm just saying he was remarkably on.
Jacob was pretty on point with his opening statements. I was like, you know what? I had some takedowns, but this is good stuff so far.
I mean, Jacob had me interested. That's the thing. I want to make it clear. Jacob,
I think Jacob could have leaned more highly onto the the self-parody of like, this movie has no cohesive structure to it.
That's what I'm saying. Jacob, again, he had an excellent start. And again, he was fighting. He was a very fair fight. Again, he had a very intriguing pitch. And again, he kind of piggybacked off the education idea, and that was working for him. And again, we'll make it clear, just because he didn't have everything figured out, that had no bearing on it. I want to make it clear, as I said at the beginning, that was just a little factor. I think Tiki maybe harped on that a little more than he should have, but again, that's not what kind of took it away. And honestly, the main bit I was expecting you guys kind of flirted around it, and not saying you needed to kind of really dive into it, but I was kind of sensing you could have. I think what Tiki was kind of circling around was really digging into the Nolan realism and how it's how it's not a good mix with Dunkirk. That's where he went with it, and I really thought I was going with it was that. Like, do we change the fabric of what Dunkirk was, and like kind of with these fourth wall gags? That's where I thought it was going, but went in an entirely different direction. And again, I'm not saying it would have like hurt it or helped it. It was something I'm just kind of expecting. But again, it was a fair fight, good ideas all around, guys. But I'm just saying, Tiki, the points that particularly real quick, the points that really won me over, honestly, the Key and Peele experience, the fact that they worked with the Muppets before, and then. The way kind of Tiki was
Nolan, who would like just hold his nose up to working with the Muppets, you know what I mean?
I would have loved to hear an argument of Nolan working with Muppets. One, because I just want to hear it, but secondly, just because again, I still think that an argument could be made for Nolan having a respect. You got to remember, the Muppets did get their start really in London, so there might be some respect.
Right, sure.
I'm saying that there was a fair show.
Muppets are very popular in Great Britain.
That's what I'm saying. Like again, the Muppet Show is entirely in England. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Where in England?
It's where it's filmed, I believe.
I'm just saying, Christopher Nolan's a very mature filmmaker. He would have nothing to do with the Muppets.
And he's
it'd be hilarious to see him paired with him.
And he's worse for the wear for it.
Actually, scratch that. I could see Nolan being the one human actor in Jacob's movie when they break the fourth wall.
All right, so again, guys, good fight.
Christopher, look, I understand what you're going for with these three timelines things, but do you really think the audience is gonna relate to it, Christopher? Go ahead, Dragon.
Like, again, good fight all around. And look, I don't want to put kind of words in Jacob's mouth here, but I think something could have been like again. again, it was just kind of, I was just asking a random question in between rounds there about kind of Death and Muppets. Just occurring to me in the moment here, I just want to bring it up, is, I mean, that would have been, I think you could have, like, hit some groundbreaking stuff with a mix of Muppets and a director like Christopher Nolan, where you could actually kind of dramatic death of a Muppet on screen. Could actually, again, that'd be something we've never seen before.
Can I just list my pitch for Dunkirk really quick with the Muppets?
Well, if Jacob okays it, we can do it.
Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, so my pitch would be literally all the soldiers would be clones of Beaker. Like, that's the thing, Jacob. You needed to have like a hilarious, like, creative out for some of these things. And so could you just imagine, like, a scene where one Beaker horrifically discovers another Beaker's dead body washed up on the shore? Like, oh
yeah.
God. Anyway.
That's actually who I was thinking of with all those faceless soldiers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I totally, like, I think if you would have put more thought into defending, like, the obvious things that could have been taken down with your argument, you would have had a better shot here. Anyways.
Yeah, just for what it's worth, before we move on to the coin, the Oscar.
And also would have helped if I had a senior movie.
Anyway.
Yeah. Just for what it's worth, while we get the coin option, kind of all slayed and just kind of all fancy and ready for everyone to see. For my money, I would have pitched Shape of Water, and I would have had like a love story between Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. That's what I would have done, or Kermit the Frog and Sally Hawkins, which again they're both I think would be tempting, but that was
no. Miss Piggy would play the Viola Davis role, but she gets super jealous.
Oh my God! Yes, it's brilliant. Oh my God. You know what? Now I
would have loved to see the Shape of Water thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, Tiki, get the coin up.
Okay.
I'm saying while I was mentioning is again, oh my God, it'd be brilliant because again we'd have the human actors like we did with Tina Fey falling in love with Kermit the Frog, with Sally Hawkins, and we'd have again Miss Piggy's about that. Tiki, it's a brilliant idea. I love it. Okay, so we're on to the coin again, folks. The coin is an optional stage of our contest of champions here, not to be confused with Jeff Goldblum's contest of champions, the other one. Very simply, I will go to Tiki, then I'll go to Jacob. I will ask them if they want to risk it, if they want to risk a point or to gain a point. Heads, you get a point. Tails, you lose a point. And then we'll move on to the speed round with whoever has points or whoever has their points remaining intact. So, Tiki, are you feeling lucky, punk?
I don't have any.
Well, no, Jacob, you have 1 point.
I have 0.
No, he doesn't.
Wait, don't I have 1? Wait, do I?
Hey, sorry. Yes, you're sorry. Yes.
If Jacob takes the coin toss and loses, does he go down to -1?
I contemplated it, but
because if that's the case, I would automatically win.
No, we're not going to take. Not going to do like a negative point. That would be cruel.
Right. With that in mind, Dragon, I choose not to flip the coin because I'm so far ahead at this point that it's like strategically it would only benefit me to not have a chance at taking a point away.
I'll give it a shot.
All right. I think historically the coin doesn't like Jacob either.
And we'll see.
Oh. Okay.
Fortune favors the bold, my friend. Hooray.
All right, so it's 3-1.
3-1, boys and girls. 3-1. Okay.
Remember, I did once put on speed round questions.
All right.
Okay. Little reminder, how many speed round questions we got?
4 speed round questions.
Just want to make absolute certain. Okay.
I still have a ghost of a chance.
All right. Okay, and of course, folks, to reiterate, as I said earlier, the speed round questions, it's 30-second statement followed by a 15-second rebuttal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Jacob?
Yep.
Good. Okay. All right. So we've had a lot of ride news lately. It's kind of a little bit of Oscar, a little bit of what's going on in Disney now. It's kind of a nice little blend there. What Pixar film needs a ride? Now you guys have 6 options. It can't be a ride that already exists. All right, so basically it gives you six movies to pick from. Okay, Tiki's got Wall-E.
Which ones have rides again?
Okay, here's the thing I was about to do it before Tiki pick his, but yeah, confidence.
Sorry, Dragon. I thought of the choice that I wanted.
No, it's fine. There's it's a help. I'm more happy to always say. Here's what's off the table. Okay, is what you can't use. Toy Story, any of the Toy Story films, Bug's Life, Monsters Inc., or Monsters University. Basically, the whole franchise is kind of summarized there. Finding Nemo or Finding Dory. Cars or Ratatouille. Those are off the
Or
table.
The Incredibles.
Well, here's the thing. Isn't it the ticket that was that little ride test you showed me? Is that really official?
Yes.
Look, I'm going to say because it's not erected yet, is it?
There. I mean, it'll be open this summer. It's pretty.
This summer? They're doing it this summer?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. It'll be 5. All right. It'll be 5 options because I know how far along it was. Okay. 5 options. The Incredibles is also off the table. So you get 5 movies to pick from.
Wait. And did you say that Ratatouille's?
Yeah, Ratatouille's off the table.
Probably because of the Epcot attraction.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was about to say, yeah.
All right. Well, I guess now now Wally's been taken. You have 4 options to pick from.
And those are
Coco, Brave,
Good Dinosaur.
Up,
Mm-hmm.
and what else? Oh, and The Good Dinosaur. Right.
Yes.
Actually, now I want to change mine, but I know I can't. So
Well, let's see if Jacob. Let's see what Jacob picks, and if he's willing to switch after he picks. Nah, I'm just kidding. He has to pick what's left.
I'll go with Coco.
damn it, that's the one I wanted. Oh well.
Oh well.
All right. Okay.
All right.
I'll go first. Tomorrowland is in trouble. That's a base fact. We need more stuff in Tomorrowland. We need more Disney magic in Tomorrowland. And you know what is a slice of Disney magic that would fit perfectly well into Tomorrowland? That's right, it's WALL-E. WALL-E might not just be one of the best Pixar movies ever, it's one of the best science fiction movies ever. And it would just fit like a glove into Tomorrowland. It's got an epic scope to it. It's got a space vibe. We need to have that happen.
Coco's story and visual and World of the Dead and visual aesthetic basically lends itself to a ride. Sure, it might fit into the Epcot World Showcase, but there could be so much more into that. Imagine that, being chased around by Alabuehe, discovering the truth behind the land of the dead. Everything, it's a visual spectacle, and it can be thrilling and exciting all at once, just like a ride should be.
Semantics time. The only place that Coco would appropriately fit into would be the World Showcase. You're right about that, Jacob. But the World Showcase, the Mexico Pavilion is really small. It has a really small boat ride. Therefore, whatever ride you put in with Coco will be bastardized because of the small and limited location.
Semantics police.
I actually did mention
I'm really stressed to get all that in there.
All right. When you're ready, Jacob.
I actually mentioned that they could build it elsewhere, elsewhere. And besides, Tomorrowland is actually really fine. Really fine. And what kind of ride would you make from WALL-E? Pretty much the only thing that would qualify as a ride is the ride into space, and that really doesn't really cement much for a ride.
Okay, guys, I think you both
I have a point about Tomorrowland, but I'll wait till Dragon's feedback.
Guys, for the record, I just want to say I love both of your pitches there, both kind of selections and then rides, and I think you both made excellent points. By all means, I buy into both of these. However, it comes down to a choice. And the choice, I'm leaning towards America's favorite, Coco.
All right, that's fair.
All right.
The Tomorrowland point I was going to make is Magic Kingdom's Tomorrowland is doing just fine. Different story with Disneyland's Tomorrowland. I should have clarified that.
Yeah, you should. Well,
Disneyland's Tomorrowland is a shit show. Anyways.
Okay. All right, let's see.
Let's just aside from the argument, you never actually specified what kind of ride WALL-E would be.
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
I didn't even mention that in my argument, but oh wait.
All right, question number 2. Again, we got a few kind of like park and kind of Disney, again, park related questions as well as some other stuff. So let's go to another. You want to go to another park one, or you want to go to an alternate one?
Let's go to an alternate one.
Yeah, you spice things up a bit.
All right. Okay. Here's a question for you. Which is it's a weird one, but it's Oscar related, so go figure. Which Star Wars character could feasibly carry an Oscar movie? If you were to do an Oscar movie with I'll widen it up, either with a Star Wars, a Star Wars character,
Jar Jar motherfucking Binks.
Okay, so Tiki's going with Jar Jar.
Can you like finish your question?
Yes. So basically, it's you can either have them in an Oscar movie, or be a movie all about them. But like a Logan type film. Basically, it's like kind of their swan song as an Oscar. Again, it's by all means like that, or just have them in a film surrounded by other people. Like they have to be the character though. It can't just be the actor who played the character.
It has to be the character.
Yeah, it has to be the character. Either the character starring in an Oscar film, or the film is all about this character.
Wait, but if the film is starring the character, then can the character still star as themselves?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm saying they're starring as themselves in the movie all about them. Tiki.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
I've got it.
So it could be like this character a Star Wars story almost.
Essentially, yes. But again, think Oscar with it, guys. Think Oscar with it.
This is a tough one. There's a lot of Star Wars characters to choose.
Oh, I'm
from.
confident about my choice. I've got a good argument brewing with Jar Jar.
Now, last time I checked, we got a few Star Wars characters, so there's quite a few to pick from.
I guess an interesting one would be Yoda.
You want to go Yoda?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with Yoda.
Okay. Oh
Jacob
man.
is going all the way to Dagobah. Show me Yoda. Okay. Tiki, whenever you're ready to talk about your Jar Jar Binks award-winning film.
Oh.
So Jar Jar is a double threat. Hollywood loves a comeback story, and I feel like Jar Jar Binks can both be that comeback actor where it's like, oh, Jar Jar was shit in Phantom Menace, but oh my god, he blew minds in that, in that Pablo Picasso biopic he starred in. But his life story is also very tragic. He's essentially the clown who brought down the entire Republic and spends his last days as a court gesture to the Empire. That's a tragic story filled with pathos in its own right.
Sorry about that. Yoda is a character that has lived for over 800 years. And just think about it. In those 800 years, he's probably done some things, seen and done some very incredible things. Like, I think a story of Yoda, like maybe even testing Yoda and all that, but lend itself to a great picture, and ultimately leading him to his exile and eventual a new hope, his new hope. I fucked it up.
Jar Jar Binks is a performer. That's literally what he is in the Star Wars canon. So if he comes out swinging, he's going to come out swinging. If he is given an Oscar script, he is going to goddamn redeem himself and act his heart out. And like I said, Hollywood loves a comeback story.
Ask yourself this: does anyone want to see a comeback from Jar Jar? I mean, like you recycled this premise from when you teamed him up with Lando. Nobody wants to see this. People would actually like to see the history of Yoda or see him react. Nobody wants to see Jar Jar.
Okay, to be fair, my Lando thing was more like the race relations thing. But anyways,
it's still recycled from.
No. Okay, regardless, it didn't pan out well last time, Tiki. So let's not. Let's think. Anyway. All right. Okay. So, guys, both of you had very interesting choices. Let's say that. And I really, Tiki, you fought with such passion. I do respect that. I respect the passion which you fought for Jar Jar. Very much like kind of a Jimmy McGill of kind of the Oscar debate, if you will. And Jacob, Yoda, you made excellent points. with Yoda, and you really, in the end there, my God, the fire came out of the boy. The lightning shot out of the fingertips of the boy here, folks. You didn't see it, but just trust me. So, here's what I'm coming down. Again, it's a really even fight, I gotta say. Even fight, but I think it just came down to the fire in Jacob's heart. He basically pointed out, again, it's not entirely because of him pulling that Tiki recycled the premise. I think that was like the cherry on top. And again, it's like, hey, you said this way back when. I'm saying though it did have some merit though, in that it's something that it's not. I'm not saying that Tiki's also. I know he's been inspired by some other stuff. Again, the facts that have been kind of like for all we know, it's been confirmed that Jar Jar's the sad clown stories with Jar Jar unfolds. So it's somewhat founded. So I'll give him that. Mm-hmm. But honestly, it's just again, it's like Yoda. It's like Yoda has a lot of untapped potential. And essentially, kind of Jacob's kind of pitching somewhat. He didn't hit on this, so I'm not giving bonus points or anything for. But the whole kind of. He's kind of pitching kind of the Obi-Wan story, which kind of makes a lot of sense with Yoda. That Yoda, he also has kind of the Obi-Wan story going on there. And he didn't say this, but, you got, after Last Jedi, there's definitely some Yoda interest has been raised a little after, there's a role of reference of Yoda in that film.
All right.
But again, now, it's, I think just kind of bring up, who, Hollywood wants this versus kind of what do the people want? What are the star, what does the everyman want? So anyways, I'm going to give this point to Jacob, and it's tied at this juncture.
No, it's
so
not. It's 2-3.
Well, remember, he got the coin point, Tiki.
Oh, wait. Yeah, you're right. It is. It's 3-3. All right. With 2 points to go, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to cut the man down. I'm kidding. Sorry. Okay.
You want to go back to the park question?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Which property out of these two? Basically, it's going to be a quick draw question, guys. Okay, so which property out of the two I'm about to name? After you hear the second one, by all means, draw. Which property should get a land or a section of Disney Park, like we're getting with Marvel Land, like getting like a whole like kind of a sect or like a whole like kind of big old like slice of land in a Disney park, world or but again land, however you want to devote, however you want to make that happen, kind of pie in the sky type stuff. Out of these two, which get a section in the Disney park? Wreck-It Ralph or Zootopia?
Zootopia. Not all the though, because I don't really think that either one really warrants a theme park land.
All right, again, I get that. What is the question though?
I guess I'm going with Wreck-It Ralph.
Okay, Tiki, whenever you're ready.
Okay.